Yes, my people, how are we doing? Back again. This is the first episode of Crystal Palace Transfer Talk, and it's going to be on all the latest transfer activity, gossip, you name it, going on within Crystal Palace and, in football in general as well. And I've got a bit of talk towards that topic towards the end of other transfers, but it's mainly going to be focused on players that we are linked to, players that we could potentially be signing, and players that are on their way out or could be leaving the club this summer from Crystal Palace and that as well. So a lot has been going on over the last few weeks. We've obviously completed the signing over a week ago. Jefferson Lerma on a free transfer that was basically kind of confirmed in May and that as well. So he signed on a free transfer. So we have signed someone at least, but we need more. We need some more players. We need some more squad depth. We need a right back. We need a striker, a winger. It's an ideal Wilfred Zaha replacement and that as well. So that is going to be on the talking business of all the transfer talk today in this live video. It's the first one and that as well. Just to let you know, my people, if you hear weird noise, it's a fan. It's absolutely roasting today, so got to keep cool and that as always. And stay hydrated, you name it as well. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and that as well. All my socials will be in the link down below in the description: TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, and that as well. Make sure to subscribe. Like I said, we're on the road to 3K subscribers and that as well. For people that are watching and that, if the sound does get annoying, let me know and I'll switch it off. But I'll keep myself cool. It's roasting, like I said. So yeah, believe it or not, got a lot to really talk about today. Now we're going to start off with Jacob O'Brien, the Irish 22-year-old young defender who's coming throughout the academy and that, started off a Cork season and we signed him up a couple of years ago, over 2 years ago, and that as well. So yeah, I mean, now recently we rejected a 1 million bid from French side Troyes and that as well. They're a team in one of the French leagues and that over in France. Wanted to buy him for £1 million. We rejected it. It would have been an ideal kind of deal potentially if like we were to sell him, just so he could get experience in that whilst being abroad, if you know what I mean. And just to just to kick off his career, because I'm not gonna lie, he hasn't really broken into the first team and that. If he was to break into the first team, he would have done it by now, ideally, in my opinion, and that as well. Like I said, 22 years of age. And I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted to see him break through, but I just don't think he would have done it. You know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna do it. To be fair, he's got another year left on his contract, and overall, I'm not sort of, if I was Parish, looking at, I just sell him because I don't think he's going to break through and be the player and defender we wanted him to in that as well. I know last season he went to Belgium side, if I can pronounce the name, RWD Molenbeek in the Belgian First Division B. He played 30 games, 3 goals, but he was relegated with them as well. So yeah, a bit of a successful kind of season, but not at the same time. So he's already experienced relegation at the young age of 22, to be fair, in that as well. So yeah, I mean, look, he's not really on the first team levels, is he? Like I said, he's got a year left on his contract. I personally would just either send him permanently just to get his career kicking on the way he wants, or if we are going to keep him for another year, try and somehow break him into the first team. It's probably going to be like a 5% chance of that happening, or loan him out to a championship side or even a League One side, to be realistic in that as well. It's going to be really interesting to see what we do with Jacob O'Brien and that. But we've let a few youth players go. Jacob O'Brien, we're either going to let him go or either going to keep him for another year, let his contract expire, loan him out for next season, like the 23-24 campaign, or the season upcoming, I should say, because it's the next season, of course, and it's on its way pretty quick. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But, yeah, a bit of a sticky one there for O'Brien. He's not sure whether to just go out on loan and run down his contract or to just leave now on a permanent deal. But who knows, that some other sides could come in for him permanently, like in the Championship or League One, for God's sake. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, gonna look at some of the comments, if there's even going to be any in that in a bit, but we're going to go for a few more other players. So this one's interesting. Astar Frandrix. I probably pronounced that name wrong. I might have done, I might have not. But Palace is interested in the Belgian midfielder. This midfielder is 20 years of age, and a lot of teams have been, Palace and Fulham, of course, have shown high levels of interest in this midfielder. Now, the question is, do we need another midfielder? I don't think so. With the signing of Lermo, got Eze, Hughes, Kure. I don't think we need another sort of versatile type of midfielder, really. And that, to be fair, he started up in the Belgian Pro League at Michigan. Michelin, I think I said that name right, and that I could have said it wrong, to be fair. And yeah, he was loaned out to well, he went to Wolfsburg actually, a few like 2-3 years ago, and he went to AC Milan on loan and that for last season, and he made 9 appearances. Didn't really have the best campaign overall there, to be fair. So yeah, he just played 9 matches overall in his career. In the end, 20, he's only made 77 appearances. That's overall in his career when he was at Michelin. Michigan, the Belgium side, he played at in the Pro League, Wolfsburg, and of course AC Milan and that as well. So he hasn't really got that much experience, overall in football, as you would have wanted to reach in 20 and that, trying to kick off his career. He hasn't really got any Premiership experience. It's always that in mind. And I look at it, and is he going to be up for the Premier League? He's quite young. He hasn't got any Premiership experience. Is it going to be the boost he needs for his career, or is he just going to be approaching like the Premier League, playing in the Premier League with Palace? If we did sign him a bit too soon, do we need to kind of ease him into it almost? Is he going to be one of these players that's going to be in a team regularly? Is he going to be a bench player if we were to sign Astor and that? So yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really not sure about it, to be fair. But I mean, he's a young player. He's quite versatile from what I've been hearing. He's got a bit of character to him on this day. The fact AC Milan picked him up on loan last season, they must have seen something in him. So he may actually do up Palace if he did come. But we are interested in Fulham as well. If Fulham showed as much interest as we did, which is looking likely, they'll have more money to, of course, offer in that as well. So you always got to bear that in mind. But overall, I can't really see it like us signing him. We don't need another midfielder unless someone picked up an injury and we get kind of desperate, to be fair, in that as well. For people just join, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Socials, you know where they are in the description down below. Any comments, questions, queries, you name it. Any transfer news, any stuff you want to talk about, the comment section, the live chat, both will be there, and that I'll answer as many questions as I can in that as well. We are linked to quite a few players in that as well. Spoken a bit about Jake O'Brien, Astor, Vranix, the Belgian midfielder, who is currently at Wolfsburg, or he's technically a Wolfsburg player, despite him being at Milan last season. We have shown interest, a high level of interest, I should say, towards him, and that. So be debatable whether we really get him in and that, to be fair, in that. So yeah, that's gonna be on the cards and that as well. Now, some good news. Kind of feel bad for the player, but about time he moves on. Gianfilippo Mateta to be loaned out to Italian side of Girona Cfc. So yeah, Italian side, they're in Serie A now. They got promoted to Serie A actually, so they'll be in Serie A for this upcoming season. So yeah, I'll be facing the likes of AC Milan, Juventus, all those sort of teams really. Lazio, Napoli, you name it. So yeah, it's looking likely that he will be loaned out for a season. Season long loan, I should say. Now, his time at Palace, he's had some ups, he's had a lot of downs. He made a comment when he first signed for the club over 2 years ago, saying he's using this as a stepping stone. Basically, he didn't really go down well with the fans. I don't think he kicked the ball for about 3 months, and then he started to find his form under Vieira. Where he, overall, since he joined Palace back in 2021, when he was on loan and we signed it permanently over a year ago, he's made 66 appearances and he scored 10 goals. A bit meh. He did score some crucial goals against like Brighton, Millwall, Watford. Leicester was the main one that kind of lifted our season. The 22-23 campaign that's just finished, to be fair. So to be honest with you, I kind of will miss him because he always used to be at the right place, right time, get crucial goals, crucial winners, and that. But at the same time, I'm not going to miss him because he was a pretty shit striker. I kind of feel sorry for him. He's a really nice guy, apparently. But he did sound like it because I actually did get a picture of him, I think, a year ago, a few months back. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame that it just didn't work out for him. It looked like he had a crap start at Palace, then he started to shine under Vieira, and then the season that just finished, he had a woeful campaign and he scored 2 goals. I don't know if he could go on assist. So yeah, I mean, he completely fell off the handle. I think maybe moving to Italy in Serie A would be the best for him, just to kick off his career again and be more of a fresh start. I don't think he can cut the mustard really, the Premier League. And clearly, we need another couple of strikers this window, which I'm going to get onto in a bit, and that as well. Now, talking more about Gianfilippo Mateta before I answer a few questions in the chat by people. They're looking for a front runner striker, Dion CFC, and Mateta has got experience, in France, in the Bundesliga, and of course in the Premier League. So he'd be ideal for them. They're looking for an ideal clinical number 9. I think the Serie A League will probably score more goals at that than he will in the Premier because it's a different level compared to the Premier League, in a good way because the teams aren't as good, but it is more competitive at the top. But I think the fact he's coming, he's potentially going on loan to a side, he's just got promoted to Serie A, it will allow him a bit more freedom and for him to score more goals. He's not going to have like high expectations when he first, arrives there and signs for them on a long, season long loan. And that, to be fair, like I said, I'm disappointed it didn't work out for him. He has been a bit of a disappointing player ever since we signed him on a permanent deal. He had a good spell and then he fell off. The season just finished. Yeah, I mean, he'll be remembered for the goals in the crucial games, like I said, and that's really, really much it, to be fair, you know. But if he does go, likely, we really need to start looking for strikers big time. We don't sign a centre forward this summer, we're screwed, and we're going to probably end up getting relegated this campaign. I kid you not on that as well. Could have a look at a few comments and questions in that as well. Let me just have a look here in that. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Road to 3K for people who just joined in that as well. I've got a few questions from Guehi. Why has Crystal Palace got no manager yet and no news from the club? And I think are slow on the yeah. I mean, the manager thing. I mean, it's a big joke. The fact Bournemouth sacked Gary O'Neill and then bringing some other keys I've never heard of quickly, like less than 24 hours later. Overall, it's an absolute embarrassment. Bournemouth, little old Bournemouth. I know they've had a bit of a financial takeover from Michael B. Jordan and a few other people, but come on, the fact we can't compete with Bournemouth right now and be on the same level as them is a complete joke. Shameful. If we don't have a manager by July the 1st, we're in shit. We're in big, big trouble, and that's unfair. We're not ready for this season. We ain't got a chance. We haven't got a single chance at all. Yeah, it's appalling. I know it's appalling. Yeah, we could sell him permanently, but how much? I mean, realistically, we'll be lucky if we get 5 mil from Mateta over the way it was last season, to be honest. Kinley says we don't even know what's going on with Zaha because we need to move from the Zaha. From the Zaha store. I'll talk about him in a bit. To be fair, I've got a bit. I've heard some news about him, but I'm just going to say this. I think he's gone. Simple as that. He would have signed by now. If he did sign a 2-year contract, he's left it late. He kind of be taking us to falls and taking the piss, to be honest with you, because like for you to leave it that late, I mean, it's just fast. I just find the whole thing fascinating. Just kind of ridiculous, the whole saga and the whole way it's kind of played out, to be fair. But yeah, people just joined. There's a comment section. So the live chat, I should say, just put any questions, queries, any players you want to see signed at Crystal Palace this summer, any ideas, any close deals that you know of, and that as well. Keep me posted. Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, strikers Palace should sign Nketiah, Dembele, or Balogun. We've been linked to these three pre-heaven. I'm going to start off with Moussa Dembele, and when not to confuse him with any other Dembele, but yeah, Moussa Dembele, the French forward, 26 years of age, of course, played for the likes of Celtic, Atletico Madrid, and Lyon last season. He's got Champions League experience in that as well. Now I'll get onto that Champions League thing in a minute and that over. 60 appearances for Fulham when they were in the Championship for a couple of seasons, nearly 8 years ago. 88 appearances for Celtic. He was loyal there, was there for over 3 years, I believe, in that as well. Scored 11 Champions League goals for Celtic, Atletico Madrid, and Lyon and that as well. So he's got that championship experience. He's been heavily linked with Aston Villa, Inter Milan, who I believe wanted him alongside Wilfred Zaha in that as well. They were trying to sign a duo. They'll probably end up getting Zaha instead of Dembele, but you never know. Milan have got more money to offer. You could say the same with Villa. Both sides are in Europe next season. We're not. So that might be on Dembele's mind. He'd probably want to play European football and obviously league football rather than just league football, like a few cups. He wants to, play at the heights of the game, to be fair. But yeah, he would have great chemistry with Odsonne Edouard. And of course, Edouard was at Celtic, both former teammates. They've played together before and that as well up front, both French and that. They've got that chemistry and that, just positivity and like fire up front. I think if we had them two in the same team, they'd score half of the goals between the pair, to be fair. It might get Edouard a bit better up front rather than him being by himself and someone up there with him and just make him into a better player. I generally think that, because we know Moussa Dembele can be a goal machine and we know Edouard can play on his day. I remember when Edouard played against Spurs, for God's sake, and got 2 goals in his debut. Dembele up front with him, they could bag about, 2 goals per match between the players, for God's sake, if you know what I mean. In my opinion, I think he would potentially do well in the Premier League. He's not actually played in the Premier League before, but he was at Fulham at the beginning of his career in the Championship. But he's a winner. He's won stuff at Celtic. He's had success at Lyon. I think he was in I think he might have been in that Atletico Madrid squad that 2-3 years ago in that as well. So yeah, he's a winner, man. He can score goals. He's got good potential, and he's 26 years of age. He's in the prime of his career. He's lived up to the hype pretty good. I want to say he's a top player, and I would love to see him at Palace. You know, he's rumored to be. Well, I mean, not even rumored. He's going to be leaving Lyon potentially on a free transfer in like a week's time and that. And yeah, we could just get him for free. To be fair, um, I remember a year ago we linked to him, and the release clause was 10 mil. For some reason, we never paid it. Big regret there. But yeah, if he's going on a free, from what I've been hearing, from what I've been seeing, I could be wrong, but that'd be a bargain. Getting him on getting Lerma on a free, and then Dembele on Dembele on a free. It'd be unbelievable, really, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, look, I look at it right now. And in my opinion, I would say he probably potentially could be one of our best. It could be one of the best number nines we've had, and that we've been calling for the last 10 years. It could be one of our best number nine or our best strikers if he was scoring goals consistently. If we did sign him, he might be one of our best strikers we've had since Andy Johnson. To be fair, that was like I don't know, almost like 18 years ago. Really, now that I think about it. So yeah, I mean, we've been calling. We're calling for a good striker. We could sign one this transfer window and that as well. And the next striker, we're linked with him once again. We were linked with him last summer. Looked like we were going to sign, and then he signed a 2-3 year contract at Arsenal. Linked to him on a loan deal in January or something. And then he stayed at Arsenal. To be fair, that was never going to happen because he was playing in the first team regularly whilst Jesus was injured for Arsenal back in January. Eddie Nketiah. That was really cringe. I don't know what I'm doing there, but yeah. Oh my god, that just came to my head. I was just like, let me just do that for fun, innit? But nah, we're linked with Eddie Nketiah once again, 24 years of age, born and raised in South London, Lewisham, and that. So he knows the area pretty well, of course, and that as well. Another Arsenal academy star that has walked into the first team. You know, hasn't been. I would say he hasn't been like a wow sort of academy player like Bukayo Saka or maybe Smith Rowe. He's kind of average, but he's done well to get to where, to get from that playing at the Arsenal under 18s, Arsenal under 17s, to rising up into the first team and actually hitting a bit of form as he did last season when he was filling Gabriel Jesus' boots while he was injured. It's pretty good, to be fair. This guy's played for the England under 20s and under 21s. He's got that experience international wise and that as well. Probably end up playing for England one day when he can find a club and start scoring goals in the Premier League on a consistent basis. Could he do it at Palace? Would he go to another club? Who knows, and that as well. But we're the only club that are linked with him and that as well. From 2017 to 2023 at Arsenal in the Premier League in the first team, he has made 123 appearances for the Gunners, and during that time, he's only made 29 goals overall competitions from 2017 to 2023, which ain't really the best, to be fair. But he doesn't really feature that much in that as well. I remember when they had the likes of like Aubameyang, Sanchez, Lacazette, and he was just a cover striker. He would just come on now and then in the cup games and the Premier games and score you like one goal, maybe like 10 or something. Do you know what I mean? I think if he came to Palace, he would be a good buy. He's got experience. He's won stuff at Arsenal, such as the FA Cup and that. So we know what he's about. He's still quite young at 24. He's almost kind of hitting the prime of his career. He's a young striker. I think he'd link up well with Elise and Eze, definitely. That'd be pretty good going forward. But I wouldn't want him over Dembele. I'd want Dembele more than Nketiah. But if we did get Nketiah and we couldn't get Dembele, that's fair enough. The problem is the asking price. Rumour has it Arsenal want 25 to 30 mil. I've got Crystal Palace and we only spend like probably under 20 mil on players these days, for Christ's sake, because we ain't got no bloody money to spend hardly. We only got like a flipping probably, I don't know, 35, 40 million budget, to be fair. So times are tough right now for us. If we did get him, we could get him on loan, but he's under contract at Arsenal. He signed one last summer, like a 2 or 3 year deal, a big contract in that, and a new paycheck. I mean, rumour has it he wants 100k a week, like his wages at Arsenal. Actually, isn't that bad, to be fair, because you got players like Zaha who apparently have been demanding 210k a week, hence the way he hasn't signed a contract yet. But yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's just a pay like 25 to 30 mil, maybe even more add-ons, etc. It's a big asking price now that I think about it. And Arsenal are putting him up for sale, allegedly, for what I've been hearing. I've been doing my research, looking around and all in the newspapers and everything, articles, and he's been put up for sale. Arteta don't really want him. So, yeah, tough situation for Mr. Nketiah. Is he worth the money, in my opinion? Does he work as hard? Has he got the quality up front we've been asking for? It's really debatable. Sometimes he's got a good finish on him. Sometimes he'll miss a sitter. Sometimes he'll just be lost, like a lost puppy or something. So it's kind of hard to call. It's risky business if we were to go for him in that as well. It'll be very interesting. Now, moving on to the next striker, I'm liking the look of this guy. When I first saw him burst into the scene, I was like, nah, he'll probably end up playing in the Championship League One. And then he went to France last year and was an absolute goal machine. Balogun, the US international Balogun. This was a guy who has risen up through the Arsenal Academy and at 21 years of age. US international striker. He has played for the England youth before, but he's now US international. Fair play to him in that as well. Now, over the last week, I mean, we've been heavily linked with him. Another Arsenal striker. Arsenal, I would value him at about 35 to 40 mil, a lot of money. Could be maybe less, maybe like let's say 30 to 40 mil between that kind of price tag, to be fair. A lot of money, man. If we were to get him on loan, there's been rumours around saying that we could get him on loan. Like I said, that would be a good bargain of a deal. I think if he were on the Prem, he's got experience over in France and that. He's attracted interest from West Ham United. Now, West Ham and making it their number one priority to sign the American international up front. So, to be fair, it's going to be they'll offer him more money. West Ham and us, every time we always compete to try and get the same player, West Ham always come on top and we always lose and fail to bring them in. So I can kind of see that happening. I could kind of sort of see that happening, to be fair. I really want Balogun. He'd be a really good fit into the Palace side, and that's where he's quite very versatile, got a bit of energy, pace. He's a good finisher on his day, and based on last season, I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, he's brought up throughout the Arsenal academy from under 18 level, and he had a few spells in the first team where he made roughly around like 4 to 5 appearances in that. It's 10 first team appearances actually. So I'm thinking about the Premier League and all competitions. He's made 10 first team appearances for Arsenal from 2020 to 2021. He scored 2 first team goals, and that came in the Europa League match over 2 years ago, and that as well. He had a loan spell at Middlesbrough, which is absolutely diabolical, and he got like 4 goals in that as well. And then last season, he goes to Rennes in Liga 1, and he scores 22 goals in all competitions there. It's unbelievable in Liga 1, man, in the French league. I know it's the French league and it's an easy league in the Premier by a mile, but 22 goals, double figures, getting over 20 goals is pretty good. I mean, it made him the 4th joint top scorer in League 1. I mean, he wasn't even that far from Mbappe. He got 29. So, he wasn't that far off. I think he could do bits in the Premier League if you give him good service, if you get good quality players around him on the wing in the midfield. He'd be an absolute goal machine. He smoked a lot of teams in the league if we were to sign him on loan or even on a permanent deal. It's most likely going to be a loan because of the financial situation we're in, which is a diabolical mess. That's all I say, to be fair. But yeah, if you want what strikers to get, in my opinion, you're either going to have to go over Guehi, Moussa Dembele, or Balogun. Simple as that. I can't think of anyone else realistically. We need a young striker, someone who's hungry, someone who's determined, and them 3 strikers, are the answer to that. But we're only probably either going to get one. We could get 2. Dembele on a 3, and maybe either Nketiah or maybe Balogun, one of them 2 on the loan. But realistically, probably could end up signing 1. We could end up with none. Be typical Palace at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Have a look at a few questions here and that as well. Never sip of water. Roasted, honestly. That's why I still got a bloody fan on. Honestly, right. Here we go. So I'm gonna have a look at a few questions here. Teddy, Conrad, sorry, I said that awful, my bad. He's been on here before, actually. I should know your name by now, my bad. And he's on Nketiah. Yeah, well, we are interested in getting him, maybe on a loan, but the option to buy, like I said, is 25 to 30 mil, 50-50 really. It's kind of risky, but at the same time, we got to sign somebody up front. He's better than the Tessa and the Jordan than the other crap we got, to be fair. Guehi says the new manager should be now getting pre-season ready, not late, and we should be seeing news about new players coming in. Nothing is happening. I think what could happen, and I remember when Vieira came to Palace, before Vieira came, and it was really dead and quiet. People I know of, I thought we'd be in the shit pretty much, to be fair. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do now? Where are we going to go? Everything was a bit lost. Then we suddenly signed Vieira like the 3rd or 4th of July. Then we went and signed Michael Lee, Mark Guehi, Anderson, Gallagher, Hughes, and Edward out of nowhere. Could have another summer like that. But we might have to spend our money more wisely. We might end up getting players with free transfers or loans, or maybe signing like cheap players, 8 mil, maybe just under 20 mil or something like that. So you never know. But we need to sort it out either this week or the 1st of July, or else we're going to have a slow start of the campaign and we ain't going to be ready at this rate. You know what I mean? Benno Sports says I want Moussa Dembele because of it's linked with Edward, could bring a good partnership up top. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I said, the chemistry and the flow between them two would do well and suit us in that as well. He says Furinham is not going to PSG. Zaha is now going there instead. Well, I'll talk about Zaha in a bit. He's been linked to quite a few clubs, but he's been linked to the Italian side heavily. I'll get onto that in a bit. and those sports and that. Dembele is the most really. Yeah, Dembele on a free transfer. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to sign Balogun. Eddie and K is 50-50 right now. We might get him on a loan or maybe just for 20 mil, 25. You never really know. But I think we're going to have to go and get Dembele. If we got Dembele, that'd be a top sign, especially on a free transfer. It'd be an absolute bargain. And that might give the fans a confidence boost that they need going into next season with signing such as Lerma and potentially Musa Dembele, because Palace fans have been saying, comments here like yourself, that's the most realistic signing that people can pretty much see happening, to be fair with that as well. Any more questions, comments? A lot more people do feel free to put a few comments, queries, and questions in the live chat as well. Make sure to like, share, subscribe for people to join socials, you know where they are in that as well. Anything in the comments, feel free to put down there and that, my people. But let's get on to another interesting topic. Been trending a lot on Twitter lately, and Palace fans are up in arms about the price tags, everything. A bit confusing, not sure which one to sell, which defender to sell this summer, Anderson or Mark Guehi. Oh God. We'll start off with Joachim Anderson right here. He's been heavily linked to Newcastle United. They've made an inquiry to potentially try and sign the defender Joachim Anderson, the big Danish light at the back for us, as you know, at the back for us, as you know what I mean. But yeah, he's been an unbelievable defender. You know, he's been one of my favourite defenders to watch. He's a really solid. Like, he's one of the most solid centre backs based on last season in the Premier League currently, and that as well. You know, him and Mark Guehi, that partnership is just like top notch for us for the last couple of years. You know, we are now. I've been looking at this really, and we've rumored to put a big price tag on him, putting off Newcastle for potentially buying him in. This is what I've been hearing over the last couple of hours, to be fair. Rumor has it, and you know, what I've been hearing is Newcastle apparently they've only been given £75 million to spend this summer window. I don't really believe that. I reckon it's probably about 150, not 75 mil. But if it's 75 mil, the fact we put a big price tag on Joachim Anderson, and it's kind of put Newcastle off and trying to buy him potentially, kind of says it all. I reckon we put about maybe 65 to 70 million on Joachim Anderson. Ideally, I think he's worth 75 mil realistically with the way he's been playing. Because Maguire's worth 80 mil, Anderson's worth maybe around 75 to 80 mil. Let's be real, probably 75. Because it's Crystal Palace. He's not like another club. I don't know if he was like maybe I don't know Villa or Brighton, they'd probably send him like 8 to 9 mil for Crystal Palace. We don't sell players for that much unless it's like under 70 mil, under 75 mil. If you get what I'm saying, really, in it. So yeah, massive price tag there on Anderson. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's been regarded as one of the most solid defenders in the Premier League currently right now. So yeah, that's what that means. Look, like I said about the price tag, that's why Newcastle not really, as pushy as they were maybe a day ago about it. They're kind of not sure. They're kind of slightly put off by it in that as well. So yeah, it's gonna, hopefully the Geordies will stop sniffing around for him and that, because I don't think he's going anywhere right now unless they ended up giving. If they offered us maybe 75 to 80 mil, that'd be hard for us to turn it down. I'm not gonna lie to you in that as well. So yeah, but he's been unbelievable. He's been unbelievable, Joachim. He was a bit shaky when he came to the club, and then he just fitted in so well, and he just got his confidence playing and that. Yeah, he's got some good. His passing, it's superb. It's world class, and yeah, I think the reason why that were for defenders such as Guehi and Anderson. Speaking of Mark Guehi, speaking of him and that as well, 22 years of age. I didn't even know he's 22. I thought he was a bit older, like 23, 24, but 22. Guy's still young. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and that Palace in England international defender, of course, and that's why he's made over 80 appearances for Palace since he's been at the club for the last 2 years. In summer of 2021, and signed him and Anderson in the same window to bargain. There was, I remember we paid about 25 mil for Mark Guehi. Tottenham have high level of interest to signing Mark Guehi. Now, Palace have valued him at 50 mil, and that's an outrage. That's a disgrace. 50 mil for Mark Guehi. The guy is one of the most. Listen, he's had a better season than Van Dijk, in my opinion. I'm not even going to lie. He's up there, with one of the best defenders this campaign, with the likes of Ruben Diaz, Saliba. Mark Guehi is solid. He's composed. He's steady. He's smooth on the ball. He's hard to get past. He's shorter than me. I mean, I'm 6'1", and he's like 6 foot, like 5'11", and he's a rock at the back. He's an absolute beast. He's a unit with him and Anderson together and that. And you're saying 50 mil, and Maguire's worth flipping 80 mil apparently. Well, when Man United signed him, the way flipping Mark Guehi's playing, he's worth at least bloody 75 mil, I reckon. 70 mil, 75 realistically. You know, Palace price, as I like to say, to be honest with you. You know, if we sold him for 50 mil, that'd be an insult. That'd be an insult to us, man. I'd be pissed off. I'd be fuming. I'm not even gonna lie. I'd sell him for about 75 mil, in my opinion, to be fair. That's what I would realistically. If people disagree with me, I'd be shocked. Honestly. But no, listen, if we did sell him, he's most likely gonna go out, you know, between him and Anderson, he's probably gonna be one who's gonna leave, to be fair. He's got a bright future ahead of him. He's been playing regularly really well for the England team and that as well lately. So he needs, if he wants to achieve stuff, win stuff, and be at the height of his game, he's got to kind of maybe make his move now, you know, to be fair in that as well. And you know, he's got his experience, came through the Chelsea academy, had a good like 2-year spell on loan at Swansea City as well. So got the experience, man. I think, you know, the scary thing is he's still very young, and like I said, he's got a bright future like ahead of him and that as well. So you know, he's just a top player, man. You know, he's a star. I'll be gutted if he goes, but I'm just preparing for him to leave. I think he'll go. If you want to spend money, I mean, you know, you want to spend money this summer window, we got to sell somebody. If we could sell him for 75 to 80 mil, Mark Guehi, realistically, overall, and how much I would want Palace to sell him rather than putting a 50 mil cheap price tag on him, then we could potentially splash the cash this window. Look, I'm gonna go back to something as well. Like in my opinion, if he went to Tottenham, I mean, what's he gonna do there? Harry Kane might not even be there. The reason why Spurs are, you know, rated still is because of Kane, for God's sake. The reason why you always have them in the top 4 race Tottenham is Harry Kane. If he goes there, he's not going to win anything. If he went to maybe, I don't know, Man United, Arsenal, Man City, he'll at least win something. I don't think he'd go back to Chelsea. You should never go back to the club you once played for. It never ends well. Trust me on that one. for what I've seen of players in the past. But he's not going to win anything at Tottenham, you know. And maybe, you know, he's realised that and he's looking at it thinking, if I stay for another year at Palace and just step up my game even more and have another superb season, he could go to a bigger club, maybe like Liverpool, Man City. Because Man City were interested in him like a year ago and it kind of died down. And obviously lately it's been Spurs. But if I was him, I wouldn't go to Tottenham. I mean, Tottenham at average, they finished 8th for God's sake. The reason they didn't finish really low is, like I said, because of Kane and maybe Son's world-class goals now and then, really. He ain't going to do nothing at Tottenham. So hence the why maybe he may stay for another season if we're lucky. But I mean, like I said, if we sell Guehi and maybe Anderson, okay, not both of them, let's say one of them, and it was like around 70 mil, we could use that money to sign maybe like 3 or 4 decent players, to be fair. And we could splash the cash a bit and strengthen the squad in the positions we need. We need a striker, winger, fullback, and maybe another centre back for cover for maybe Richards. Sorry, Anderson and Richards. If you were to sell Mark Guehi, if you get one thing, so you always got to bear that in mind in that as well. I mean, you got Steve Parish already coming out saying that we've hardly got any money to spend. I mean, that's not really taking the club to the next level. We're going backwards a bit. I mean, the fact we could potentially end up appointing Roy for a third spell says it all. So it's not taking the club to the next level. What he said, after the Nottingham Forest game, it's a load of nonsense. You know, the fact we have to sell players to try and spend more is a complete joke. It's shambles. That's all I've got to say, really. Hence the why we might have to either sell Anderson or Guehi just to, give us the 70 to 80 mil to splash of cash and sign some more players to strengthen our positions within the squad overall and that. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. But hey, what can you say? What can you do? You know what I mean? Typical Palace not learning from their mistakes. We've got a few comments. Let me have a look at them quick. How many people get well? Mills, try and keep both. It's going to be hard. I think we'll keep Anderson more than Mark Guehi. Maybe we did sell Guehi, we should sell him 75 to 80. Yeah, they are both solid. They're clinical players, man, superb. And the reason why we don't ship him concede as many goals as we would have done in past seasons is because they're two at the back, two solid, composed, and amazing defenders. That partnership has been so crucial for us, staying in the Premier League for the last couple of years and that as well. It's just a shame they haven't got as good players around them. You know what I mean? Now, here's another player we have been heavily linked to over the last couple of days, Andrew Ombaladi. I hopefully said that right. He's Palace here. Had to try and move to him as the Mark Guehi replacement. Rumor has it we're going to sign him for around 20 mil. He was to come. That is if we sell Mark Guehi over the next few weeks, potentially that as well. Now plays for Norwich City. He's 20 years of age, 34 appearances for them in the Championship last season. An Irish international. Now he's got international experience. Hasn't got any Premiership experience though. The question is, if we sign him, is he going to be a first team regular? let's say we sell Mark Guehi, then Anderson would play alongside Chris Richards, and he'd probably be on the bench. Unless he could play at fullback, but he is a centre back, and that as well next to why he's the Mark Guehi ideal replacement just for cover, or if one of the other defenders got injured like Anderson, come in and fill in with one of them, innit? You never know really, innit? So yeah, that's all I know about him. But he's a young player, he's got a lot to give, a lot to bring, still got a good future ahead of him if he, he keeps his mind to it. And if he did come to the Premier League, you have to. It's a big jump, championship to Prem, so he's got to step up a bit. He's got to get his fitness up to scratch and everything in that as well. So he always got to bear that in mind. But I think he'd be a good. I think he'd be a good buy. The pundits seem to think it'd be a good sign in the Premier League. A Premier League move for him will be very good, and it's come at the right time. So yeah, hopefully he does what he were to sign it, but we still got to sell Mark Guehi. 20 mil is a big asking price. And that's what Norwich want for him. That's the price tag they put on Andrew in that there as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, anything, I'm looking at. The AC Milan are interested in him, but we are the favourites to sign him. I think because they're abroad, he's probably not even ready to go abroad yet. If you know what I mean, he wants to probably stay over in England, Britain, and that, and just develop his game. And the Premier League would be ideal. The fact we're the only Premier League side interested in him. It'd be pretty stupid to turn this down, but it's a bit of money, 20 mil. But to be Palace in it, unless we sell Mark Guehi, we'll definitely be able to afford him and maybe sign a couple other players with that 17+ mil we get. So, yeah, be interesting. But he looks like a young prospect and a bright one for the future. So hopefully we get it right this summer and just a smart eye that we can end up signing players and overall to be fair in that. Now, bit of a talking point over the last day or two. It came out of nowhere. It kind of shocked me and really surprised me. I kind of laughed at it, but then when I read into it, the detail, it's a little bit mad, the whole story and that. Sam Johnson, Everton may activate a 10 million release clause on Sam Johnson's contract. Now, we signed him just under a year ago, the free transfer from, I believe, West Bromwich Albion. Yeah, it's been a weird story. I'll talk about Sam Johnson. He's been at Palace for a season, where he hardly played for the first 3 months. And then I think he made a couple Carabao Cup appearances and then just disappeared a bit, had a few injuries. He made 11 appearances and kept 5 clean sheets last season. This was when he got, a first team chance against Leeds United away in a superb game and kind of kept us, in the game, to be fair, 1-0 down and that. And after, of course, we demolished Leeds to 1-5-1. But if it weren't for him in that game with his world-class saves and the quality he had being in goal, we would have probably been 3-0 down at half-time, I reckon. So he was pretty solid for us in goal, clinical, consistent. He's got Premiership experience with West Brom, Man United, and he showed his best. He stepped up to the plate big time. Roy gave him a chance. He stepped up and took his chance. And I think for the last few games between early April till the end of May, the last 2 months of the season, he was our first choice goalkeeper. For Zente Gaeta did not get a sniff, hence why he may be going back to Villarreal or some other club in the Liga in Spain he's been linked to. So yeah. Guy's on his way out, but we'd be pretty stupid to let Sam Johnson go unless Everton activated this £10 million release clause as well. Now, look, Sam Johnson, he's been phenomenal. He's made some top-class saves. I think the only mistake was against Wolves when he gave away a stupid penalty at the last minute. That happens, but he's very reliable. He gives the back four confidence, and he's the kind of keeper you want to get sides going forward. He's 29 as well. He's probably got another 10 years in him, I'd say. So he's a pretty decent, solid keeper, and I'd always have him in the first team over the likes of Zente Gaeta and any other people that wants to try and get over him, for God's sake. Unless Whitworth, to be fair, he's probably getting loaned out anyway. So I'll be pretty disappointed if he picked Everton over us, to be fair. If they activate the 10 million release clause, would he want to go to Everton? It's quite toxic up there. I know he's from the north and that really, Johnson. He's from that Manchester area, you're somewhere near there. I think I could be wrong, but he's from North because of his accent, I believe. But I just think he's got more of a chance of succeeding at Palace than he will currently at Everton. Just because they're building a new stadium doesn't mean that they'll succeed. They should have been relegated. The season just finishing the season for that. So you just might as well stay at Palace. I think he'll do really well next season if he has a full decent season at Palace. To be fair, he will shine and live up to his full decent potential in that as well, Premiership football. But the reason why Everton, like I said, are linked with him and may activate the release clause potentially is 50-50. Is Pickford's been linked to Man United because Man United want to get rid of De Gea. Man United need the new number one, and Pickford's the ideal replacement. with his experience for the England national team, being England is #1 and Everton's #1 for the last 6 years since he's been with the Toffees and that. So yes, that's the story to it. To be fair, but he'd be pretty stupid to go to Everton. I'd be shocked if he went there with the state of that club. I mean, why would you want to go to a shit club like Everton? You might as well stay at Palace. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, he'd be completely stupid to go there. I don't think he would, to be fair. He hasn't even been at Palace for a year, for Christ's sake. But yeah, it'd be foolish to go there, to be fair. I'm not that worried about it, but if I hear more and more about it, I probably will get worried because, as an indication, he may be going to Everton. I think it's just a rumor. He'd be foolish to go there the way it is right there. Now, news on Wilfried Zaha. This is what I've been hearing for the last couple of days. He could go to Inter Milan on a free transfer. I know he's been linked to PSG, and it's been rumored that he's most likely going to be going there. Some clubs in Saudi Arabia are offering a stupid amount of money. Would he go there though? I don't know. He wants to stay more local, but he may have to go abroad because no one local in London would help him. He wouldn't probably get in the first team at Spurs. Definitely not Arsenal. He should have gone like 4 years ago when he had the chance. He wouldn't go to Chelsea. He's not going to do that. Fulham and Brentford, it's just a step backwards for him. He wants to progress in the probably like 3-4 years left of his career at the age of 30. So he might as well go abroad and maybe Inter Milan. He's going. I've accepted it. He would have signed the deal a month ago if he was to stay at Palace. He's not going to leave it to the right for the last year. I bet you on July the 1st he'll announce what club he's going to, and it's most likely going to be Inter Milan. I'd be surprised with any other club, to be fair. But it was like he's going to be joining them on a free transfer. You've got to wish him a farewell. He's done his time at Palace. He's been a good servant. He's been a legend. He's kept us up in the Prem for the last 9 years, to be fair, since he returned back to Palace for his second spell. And he's been an unbelievable player. He's been an absolute gem. He's been a loyal man. You know what I mean? So credit to him, mate. And he's just got to move on with his career. And I'd love to see him win something. And he probably could do it in the Serie A league with Inter Milan. Maybe play with them to challenge for the title. Who knows? They could even win the Europa League. I mean, they got to a Champions League final into last season. So anything's possible when you're in Italy, for Christ's sake. These days, it is known as one of the most competitive leagues in the world, more competitive than the Premier at this rate, because the Prem is now Farmers League with City winning it. With Serie A, 1 year it's Inter, then it's Milan, so then it's AC Milan, and then it's like Napoli winning it this year. It's crazy, man. So fair enough that he's most likely going to be going to Inter Milan there and that as well. We're gonna talk about a bit of latest, transfer gossip and activities just happening, around other clubs recently as well. And there's been some big news regarding the Saudi Arabian League and that as well. Overall, been hearing rumours about Declan Rice. Now there's a couple of rumours about him. Manchester United are willing to swap Maguire and McTominay for him. Apparently, for what I've been hearing, I mean, that's a load of nonsense. I've just seen it. I don't really believe it. West Ham be stupid to take Maguire and McTominay for Declan Rice. That'd be just stupid and ridiculous. That's never going to happen. I've got another thing to talk about as well. But we're going to talk about Hudson-Odoi quickly and that. They're going to discuss his future, the Chelsea representatives. They're going to discuss his future next week and that. So Hudson-Odoi, he's still under contract at Chelsea and his release clause is 10 mil. Could he be the ideal Wilfried Zaha replacement? He's won a few stuff at Chelsea. He's got his experience in that as well. You never really know what to expect, to be fair. So I generally think we could go for Hudson-Odoi. That's a shout, But once he discusses his contract details and everything in his future at Chelsea, rumours will probably perk up about him coming to Palace. But I would love to see him at Palace. He's a South London boy. He's a local lad. He only grew up on the road from where I live, for God's sake. So, yeah, I mean, we always sign some Chelsea players, whether they're rejects or young players. He's still a fairly young player in that as well, to be fair. He's had spells in the Bundesliga, Leverkusen and that. So, he didn't really do that well, but he's heavily linked with other clubs in the Prem. Probably one of them would be us, maybe West Ham, even Arsenal, probably, because they love to sign Chelsea rejects. A few teams in the Bundesliga, and obviously Saudi Arabia are pretty much linked to every player. When I mean Saudi Arabia, I mean the Saudi league. They're trying to make it the best league in the flipping world. Stuff, and that's what happened at this rate. Could do, what I mean? Now, Manchester City, I'm talking about Declan Rice. In Manchester City, they're expected to submit an offer for Declan Rice. Could be 100 mil. West Ham be stupid to turn that down. The Man United and Arsenal don't offer more than 100 mil. You look at Arsenal offering 75 to 80 mil. Now Declan Rice is worth more than that. He's worth 100 mil over. You got to be offering that kind of money. for him to go. I mean, West Ham confirmed he's going to be leaving, and there was a video saying Declan Rice confirming he's staying. He's definitely leaving and that as well. So whether he'll go to Man City, Man United, or Arsenal, God knows at this rate, but very close. Gundogan has left Manchester City after almost 7 years. 7 years at Manchester City. Gundogan leaves on a high, 14 trophies. He's going to Barcelona as a free agent. I'm disappointed Manchester City didn't try to keep him, but he wants a new challenge. He's pretty much won everything at Manchester City apart from the FIFA Club World Cup, which will probably end up winning in December anyway, but depends on who they sign in that as well. Manchester City. But it's all that's a part of the flow now. But I know Cancelo's going, Walker may be leaving, now Gundogan. They've got to keep some experienced players there, but there's going to be a massive rebuild at Manchester City. But he's won everything, really, to be fair. Most stuff like Carabao Cup, Community Shield. He won the FA Cup and that as well. Too many Premier League titles to count, and of course the Champions League recently. Man, he's part of the winning Manchester City side at the treble. So good luck to him. He's a top player, and I've always admired him, man, as well. He was Pep's first signing in Manchester City. I remember when he signed, and he was very injury prone. And then he just started playing consistently and regularly with an absolute star. Speaking of Manchester City, looks like Gundogan's replacement is Kovacic. Mateo Kovacic has signed from Manchester City, from Chelsea, for around 25 to 30 mil plus add-ons and that as well. The add-ons will be 5 mil in preferences and that as well. So it's a good buy. He's won the Champions League with Madrid and Chelsea. He's won titles when he was at Madrid. He's won other bits of silverware and that as well, even winning the Europa League at Chelsea. And yeah, Chelsea had a big clear out. I mean, Mendy and Koulibaly are going, Ziyech has left, and Kante has moved to some team in Saudi Arabia. I've never heard of the summer money and that. Unbelievable stuff. It's a good move in Kovacic. At least he's going for success rather than following the money. So fair play to him and that as well. And that's pretty much really it. Actually, we do have a few more actually here. I'm just going through what some people sent me a few stuff on that as well. Not just about Palace transfers, about other transfers and that as well. So yeah, we got Tom Davis leaving Everton at the end of the month. I don't really want him at Palace. He's a bit of a Championship standard player, hence why Everton have always been down during the relegations over the last couple of years as well. And Kai Havertz is set to sign for Arsenal, have a medical within the next week. 65 mil. Imagine this year. Imagine Chelsea signing for 65 mil 3 years ago, and then 3 years later, they send it for the exact same price. Fair enough for Chelsea, I'll give them that. But it's a big L for Arsenal signing on Chelsea reject. Though he did score the winner in the Champions League final and that as well. He has won stuff at Chelsea, the FIFA Club World Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, when they beat Villarreal, who won the League as well. Chelsea won the Champions League, too. So he's won stuff. He's had successful times at Chelsea and a few lows, such as last season, that campaign. If Chelsea fan looking at that, it's probably one of the worst campaigns in history for them to watch in that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And Newcastle are signing Sandro Tonelli. I probably said the Italian midfielder. Awfully wrong. Signing him around £70 million. I don't think they've got a 75 mil budget. They probably got more than 75 mil this way because they're linked to him and they're linked to Maddison and a few other players, including Elise. They've probably got more than 75 mil to spend at this rate. 70 mil. A bit of club record signing for them. They're doing bits in Newcastle. You've got to give them credit in that as well. So there you have my people. That's the end of this about this transfer talk of this summer window as well. First episode, another one coming out next week as well, maybe the week after. I'm busy with stuff. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Socials like Instagram, Twitter, link in the description down below. Been a nice one in that as well. Got some more transfer rumors probably going to be on the way for the next week. Maybe even trying to sign some players. Hopefully we sign a few players. I'm hoping to get a new manager in. Steve Cooper or Hodgson maybe for a third spell. Graham Potter. Who knows who's going to take over, for God's sake. But we can't enter the season without a manager, or else we're going to be in big trouble. And it looks like we're not ready for the season just yet, which is a bit worrying. Hopefully we pick up and buck our ideas up month before the Premier League season, 12th of August for us away to Sheffield United. Big game there, as is every game. Then make sure to like, subscribe, and see you on my next video. In a bit, my people, do not go change.